CNN, MSNBC, FOX, ABC, NBC, oann. At first glance, the US's TV news media is a thriving, growing marketplace packed with differing ideas, fruitful discussions, exciting debates. The truth is more sinister, unfortunately. Before, news and media houses were the corporations. Now they are wholly owned and operated by the corpos. America's TV news is a cacophony of propaganda, disinformation, and distraction. Honestly, when Trump says fake news, I don't disagree with him, and neither do more and more Americans. Like my previous video about America's political spectrum, I will be looking at the nation's TV news channels through two lenses: what we're told versus what is. What we're told, for example, is that Fox is to the right, MSNBC left, and CNN is center. This is what we're told. What is not so neat, especially for America's so-called left. Before I start ranting and raving about the deficiencies, I want to say there are exceptions and some very fine people on all channels, but they are few and far between and not the norm. Alright, the big three. So this is what we're told, but this is what is. Again, I would argue both CNN and MSNBC are just not right. The latter, MSNBC, is maybe a little left of Ted Turner's baby, but not by much. We'll get into the nitty-gritty in later content. Our glorious revolution has just begun. Fox, I would argue, is actually a little more right than perceived. I tax colored and immigrant folk issues heavier than most. This rightward shift can be seen as all new entrants are right to far right leaning, and these are oann and Newsmax and the Blaze TV. The older heads, NBC News, ABC News, CBS News, cannot be ignored. They provide so much political programming and content. This rightward shift can be seen as all new entrants are right to far right leaning, and these are oann, Newsmax, and the Blaze TV. The older heads, NBC News, ABC News, CBS News, cannot be ignored. They provide so much political programming and content, not only through traditional desk reporting, but also debate shows, news magazines, and morning programs. ABC has America This Morning, Good Morning America, This Week, ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, 2020, Primetime, Nightline. NBC News has Early Today, Meet the Press, NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt, and Dateline NBC. CBS Morning News, CBS This Morning, Face the Nation, CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell, CBS Overnight News. What's the difference, you ask? After years of being largely similar, the programs have evolved to their own niches. World News emphasizes stories relevant to viewers' lives delivered in Muir's laid-back style. CBS Evening News focuses prominently on business, political, and international stories delivered in a no-nonsense style. Nightly News takes a middle-brow, folksy approach with a balance of hard and soft stories. There have been a time where these were left-leaning to true center channels, but now I would argue they are well and truly in the establishment zone because, they are part of the establishment. This is the part I shout out C-SPAN and PBS NewsHour. Both are publicly funded, underwatched, and probably overwhelmed with the current state of the union. Now, for all my criticisms and critiques, I actively watch pretty much all these channels. For news, views, and because I hate myself. Anyways, watch. I'm not saying don't watch. I'm just saying watch and then parse and analyze for yourself. Ask yourself where they're coming from, how they're coming with it, and then consider what they aren't showing and why not.